What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about Arc Raiders Server Slam in the numbers. They put a bunch of stats out there for the Server Slam, how many people played, how many things died, and stuff like that. We'll go over that. We're going to go over Battlefield 6 first batch of soldier skins is more tactical than tactical. Nice one. But it's also thought that one green skin was a step too far. I have some bad news for you. So we're going to look at the skins that they actually have to do. We're going to talk about Zack Snyder says he would restore the Snyderverse if Netflix owned the rights to the version of DC Universe, because Warner Brothers is up for sale again. So Netflix is might purchase it. Who knows? Anyone is up in the air to purchase it right now. But if Netflix buys it, Zack Snyder says that he would be willing to continue with his. Over 5,000 games released on Steam this year. Didn't make enough money to recover the $100 fee to put on the game on Valve's store, researchers estimate, which is interesting because there's just too many games, I guess. And then we're also going to watch the Outer Worlds 2 review, okay, by ACG. Came out about an hour ago. We're going to watch it near the end of the show. I have all the links in the description down below. I do implore you, if you want to support that content creator straight up, just go to their channel, watch the review if you're interested in the thing. I will be pausing and talking, give you my thoughts and opinions as we go through. So if you want to watch their just raw review of the actual game, go to the link in the description down below. Go to ACG's channel, give it a like, give it a sub, and then watch the actual video yourself. How's everyone doing? What's going on, chat? Morning, Winter Rose, Altern, Kylo, Dirty Bear, what's going on, man? Nice to see you. Jesse, good morning. Travis, good morning. Eclipse, good morning. Drummerman, good morning. We will be playing some Marvel Rivals this afternoon with Mr. Luke with the new zombie mode that's in. I booted it up. It is up to date, so we will dive into that. I haven't touched it, haven't done anything with it. And then also tonight we have Generation X Gaming, a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. Also, if you noticed, I need to know, I put a lot of shorts on both 30 and Still Gaming and 30 NSG. Let me know if you guys got notifications for those. I don't want notifications for those. I just want to kind of post them. But let me know if you got notifications, because if you did, I got to make sure that you don't get notifications, because I don't want to overwhelm your feed and whatnot. So just let me know. If it did happen, it won't happen again. But I posted like 3 or 4 on 30 NSG and like 7 last night on 30 and Still Gaming. Ray says, I wonder how good or how Xbox will be able to make a curated premium experience if they also have a lower number of users. BlackBerry and Windows Phone tried this, and they failed because they didn't have the user base. What do you mean? As far as Game Pass, Ray? Is that what you mean? Travis says, I'll have a good day. I got to get off. Enjoy the show. All right, Travis, have a good one. Check out the Enshrouded dev update. I haven't played Enshrouded, and we're not going to cover that over here, Dirty Bear. I hear it's a great game. All right, let me bring up Arc Raiders numbers here. There is a update for Helldivers. There is an update for Helldivers. They did a whole bunch of stuff, but we're not going to be covering that here today as well. All right, let's go over to Arc Raiders. So Arc Raiders had a server slam test this past weekend. We played it for about 16 hours. I think it was like 15, 16 hours this weekend. I enjoyed my time with it. I'm looking forward to it when it comes out in about 9 days or so. Right, it comes out 8 days. So massive thank you, it says Server Slam and What's Next, to all the brave Raiders who joined us for the Arc Raiders Server Slam this past weekend from the entire team. Thank you for your participation and absolute. Okay, it says we designed the Server Slam to stress test our systems and collect real-world feedback, and you delivered. Okay, we're working around the clock to implement fixes and tune the game for launch. They already made some changes as far as like in the tower, in the damn tower. Not the damn tower, but the damn tower. You know what I'm saying? Damn tower. So people were getting in there. You needed a key to get into this room. and people figured out you can jump off the roof and like hang onto the ledge and then go through the window, and they didn't want you to do that. But I thought it was pretty cool. I think they should keep stuff like that in the game if people can figure it out. But obviously, you need the key to get into the room. That's what they planned to do, but you couldn't do it. Okay, it says the key takeaways: your feedback coupled with our data gave us crucial insight, and what we took immediate actions on several fronts. All right, the stability. It says you helped us quickly identify and resolve the stability issues across the platforms during the test, and we've locked even more solutions leading up to the launch day and to ensure the smooth launch experience. I hope so. It was really smooth for me. I was playing on the Xbox Series X. I wasn't playing on PC. I know a lot of people that were playing in squads were crashing on PC when I was watching a bunch of streamers, and it was happening quite often as the weekend went more and more. But I didn't have any crashes on my end. We had a little bit of rubber banding, but at the same time, we also play with Mr. Luke, and he's across the sea, across the ocean. So there could be a little connection issue there when we play together. But for the actual game itself, I had no issues whatsoever. The flying arcs, it turns out that their awareness was a bit too high. And I noticed this when I was playing because I would hide in a bush when I was playing solo and whatnot when we were trying to extract. And all of a sudden, they knew exactly where you were. And I was like, how did they know? They weren't even here when I got here. So obviously, whatever was tuned, they could sense us through the bushes. It wasn't about view. It's about, the actual coding of what it was. So it says allowing them to essentially see through trees and bushes. This made their vision unnaturally overpowered, or unintentionally overpowered. But it's also adjusted what we can see now. So expect a fair fight at launch, which is fine. I've talked about this with other games in the past where I was playing, I forget what Ubisoft game it was, Wildlands, I think it was. And I would be a sniper in a bush on a mountain from like a mile away, and I would snipe somebody. The other people weren't even looking at me, and the guy that was next to the guy that I sniped knew where I was and what bush I was in. It was like, that's terrible, terrible design, okay? Because if I'm trying to be a sniper and I'm trying to be sneaky, I can't go around. So in this game, there's a stealth build. You can make a stealth build. But if I can't stealth, then what's the point, right? So I'm glad they fixed that. Okay. The damn tower. See, this is the damn tower I was talking about, right? So the damn tower, we watched many of them bravely and perhaps a little too easily access the damn control tower and the damn battlegrounds. It was fun to watch, but a bit too accessible for a key loot location. That's been fixed to keep the challenge sharp. So they probably put something up in the windows, stop the windows, or maybe they extended the roof out just a little bit further so you can't drop down. Gamers will find a way. But I totally get it. They meant to make it where you have to find the key, just like you have to find the key for the hatch. You can find a key in the world, or you can purchase a key. But you need a key to get into certain rooms. And obviously, if you don't need a key, then what's the point of putting a key in the game, right? So, visual difference. Some noticed a visual difference between the Server Slam and earlier tests on certain hardware. The default settings did change a bit in favor for more performance, and we were looking to tune further to strike the right balance. Here's another thing that I noticed a lot of people were talking about. Shroud talked about it. I think Tim talked about it. A couple other streamers talked about it. So what people were doing on PC, which I always find very hilarious because it's like a give or take type of thing, right? So you're on PC because you have the best performance, right? You have the highest graphic settings. It runs the smoothest. You're going for the frame rates. But they also want advantage. So they'll take a little bit of less quality of the game, lower their settings so they can see through the bushes, so they can see where it doesn't pop in as close, and they can see people hiding from a farther distance away and whatnot, which I think is funny. I mean, obviously, gamers are going to game, like I said, but I just think it's funny because they actually lower the visuals on their own PCs, even though they're trying to make the visuals better. They'll lower the visuals so they can see things farther away and get the advantage over someone else in a PvP game. It says, beyond these points, our reports helped us squash a number of bugs, helped identify, address the game balance, and suggest improvements and to the experience. And every piece of data and the feedback you provide to help us making the Arc Raiders a better game. Here's a look at some of the community numbers. All right, so let's open this up in another so we can see the numbers here. So we got Arc Raiders rounds played, 30 million rounds. That's a lot of rounds. Okay, 30 million rounds or matches. Deadliest Arc was the Rocketeer. We got destroyed by the Rocketeer multiple times. Players knocked down by the Rocketeer. 2.3 million people were knocked down by the Rocketeer. Recorders found. I'm part of that number. I found a recorder and I played through the thing and I got shot in the face because of it. Over 96,000 recorders found. I don't know if you could buy it at the vendor. I think you had to find it in the world. 2,669 Raiders knocked down while playing the recorder. Hey, I'm in that number. Okay, I got shot in the face. Most crafted weapon was the Furo. 77 queens eliminated. That's pretty crazy to think. I mean, obviously, it wasn't there all the time. I didn't even see it. Multiple times I was in the match where the queen was. I never walked over there to look at it. Okay. 108,000 Raiders knocked down by the queen. Just look at that in the difference between the Rocketeer. Rocketeer knocked down 2.3 million people. The queen just knocked down 108,000. Total arcs destroyed 58 million. That's crazy. That's 30 million matches. 58 million is almost 2 to 1. Almost 2 to 1. Players knocked down by lightning. I never got knocked down by lightning. I don't even think I had a lightning round that I was in. 26,676 people got knocked down by lightning. And then 816 and 162,000 rubber ducks collected. I collected one. And apparently you can collect them and put them on your shelf inside your base or whatever. I didn't know that. I was watching someone else talk about it, and they said you can collect the ducks. So it was like bobbleheads, I guess, but they don't do anything. You just collect them, I guess. But yeah, there's some numbers. And here's the thing, right? I always talk about numbers. We love numbers on the show because numbers don't lie. Okay. So you could tell if a lot of people are playing a game, because if a company wants to share numbers, they'll share numbers. Okay. They'll share numbers because they're excited about it. When companies don't share numbers, it's because they didn't hit the number that they wanted to hit, which means it's a failure. Okay. Now there's another way they could use numbers to make it sound like it's better, which we see all the time in the movie industry. They're like, oh, it's the number one movie at the box office, because you hear that number, it's number one movie at the box office, even though no other movie came out in the box office that weekend. So, of course, it'll be number one because there was no competition. So they love using the numbers against them. But my point is that if a game comes out and there's good buzz around it, it will sell. People will play it. Numbers like this can be tossed out because you look at it and go, hey, a lot of people were playing it. Now, obviously, we don't know how many people played the actual server. We just know 30 million rounds. We don't know how many actual people played. But we do know there was, 200,000 plus on Steam. And I was playing on Xbox. And a lot of people that I played with in the solos I saw on Xbox. So I would assume there's a lot of people playing on console as well and PlayStation as well. Maybe it's not as much as Steam. Maybe it is more. Who knows? But this game is going to be very popular when it comes out in about a week or so. A little over a week. So, cool numbers. Let's go back to here. It says, I think that's about it. It says, spending all these final days putting the finishing touches on the game to prepare for our full launch on October 30th. See you on the top side again. So, that's basically it. So, they made a couple of changes, which I think is good. I think they'll have to, figure out what they want to do with the end game or with that expedition, what we talked about yesterday. But for the most part, I'm looking very, very much forward to this game. I probably won't get it day one. Maybe I will. It all depends on how smooth it comes out. But then again, we were just talking yesterday. It comes out on a Friday, which is Halloween. So I'll be doing it. I don't know what time I'll be playing. So I might wait till Monday or sometime the following week to pick it up and watch other people play it throughout the weekend. Maybe that's what I'll do because that weekend I have a lot of stuff going on. So, yeah. So let me know what you guys think about Arc Raiders. What do you think about these numbers? What do you think about the changes? What do you think about the damn tower? About them making it where you can't go through leaping off the ledge and grabbing on and getting in through the back door. You have to actually get, the key to get actually in the door. It's out on Thursday. Is Thursday the? Oh, it's on Thursday. It's Halloween. Well, it's still Halloween. Yeah, it's still Halloween. Right? We're doing a show. We do the podcast in the evening. And then Friday, Friday's Friday. I don't stream on Fridays. Maybe I could play it on Friday. Maybe. But I have family coming into town that weekend. So, again, not sure if I'm going to be able to play it. So, we'll see. Let's see. Let's go to the next story. Sarge says, If you blow your nose while you play the game, they have a stat. But when a game goes to market, can't find an accurate sales number to save your life. Yeah, that's right. Are they making Crisis 4? Not sure. Altered says it's on hold. It's on hold right now because they've run out of money for Crisis 4. Jesse says they turned down foliage quality or grass quality settings on games and technically cheating than our graders. Thoughts? Yeah, that's what I said. I said it, Jesse. I said people that have high-end rigs lower these settings so they can see people. Technically, it is. You're taking advantage. I mean, is it against the rules and stuff? No. I mean, but the point is that it is cheating because if you want a fair fight, right, especially the person that's fighting that thinks they're better than somebody else, okay, like obviously you watch a person like Shroud, he is better than most people that play the video game because he's very good, okay? I don't think he needs to turn down his quality of grass so he can get the extra speck of advantage, right? There's no difference between someone doing that and having an additional 10% health buff on them because they get the quick, read, right? If you have those monitors that can pick out the stuff, we were talking about this last week. If you have those monitors, or earlier this week we were talking about it, where you could cheat, like a wall hack, right? Where if I can see you and I know where you're coming from, that's an advantage. Well, if you're in a bush and you can't see me, but I can see you, that's cheating, right? You have an advantage over somebody else. You're not playing fair. So, but people are going to do it. Hence why I would play on non-crossplay. If I'm not playing with people that are on PC, then I'm going to play on console only because it makes it more fair. One, you would hope that everyone's using a controller, not a mouse and keyboard on their on their console, right? You would see how they move, basically, if they were moving a lot faster or whatnot. Or they have a pro controller and stuff like that. Pro controllers give you a little bit of extra advantage. So is that cheating? You can go down the rabbit hole here, right? Go down the rabbit hole. Let's see here. PC shenanigans. If you want a fair fight, turn down all the graphics and play a shooter from the 90s. That's right. If you put everyone on the playing field, everyone's looking for an advantage to get that little extra skill over somebody else instead of putting the time in to get better. Now, if you're a competitive person, I would assume that you want to be the best, but you also want to be the best without lowering yourself down to be preceded the best. And I'm not talking about you yourself, Jesse. I'm just talking about competitive itself. The reason people play football or baseball or do professional gaming is because they're the best of the best. And obviously, in baseball, people think that they are not good enough, so they take steroids, right? So they have to get that little bit of edge over the other person that's putting in the time, right? So every little advantage, the person wants to be the best. If you're competitive, you want to be the best, but you also, I would think, would have integrity and morals to, if you want to be the best, then beat someone with your own skills, not with little bits and pieces of cheating here and there, with lowering the graphics, better controller, mouse and keyboard versus like compete against actual people. Eclipse says life is paid to win. Ray says people playing classic Counter-Strike are pure sweats. They like to compete, I would think. People at the highest tier, okay, if you're, why do you think people get shunned when they know that they're using some sort of cheat or whatever? Because they're fakes, they're frauds. They're not people that actually want to compete. They want people to think they compete. Right? They want to make it pretend that they're very good at the game, but they're actually not really good at the game. You see it all the time with people that are content creators that are just trying to get better numbers, right? They're not really good, so they get the hacks and the wall hacks and the things to make them look like they're awesome, so they get the numbers up, and if they get their numbers up, then they get their revenue up, and if they get their revenue up, they're making more money, so they're cheating not only you, the viewer, because you think you're watching someone that's actually talented, but you're not. You're watching someone that's a fraud, and then when someone finds out they're a fraud, that's why they get shunned, because they're actually not competing. Are pro controllers a cheat? If you're in a competitive set, Ray, like if you're on stage and everyone's using the same controller and everyone's using the same mouse and everyone's using the same thing and they all have the same advantage, then no. If you're a person that has a pro controller and someone else is using a non-pro controller, you have an advantage over them. So yes, it would be considered a cheat on a pro setting. Hence why in certain settings, they try to give everyone the exact same thing. You could bring your headphone and or your controller, but they have to make sure your controller is the same. And if everyone else has it, like nobody's on a pro team having a pro controller and someone else is using a hand-me-down, right? They want to make sure that everyone is on the same playing field so they all can compete. If you're talking about sweaty basement dweller using a pro controller, is that a cheat? No, he's just playing a video game. But if you're setting a stage and you're going for money, cash prizes, and this is your living, then yes, that would be a cheat if everybody else is not using it. Salty says, don't talk about morals when it comes to gaming. We remember those COD lobbies, yeah. All hardware is the same in a competitive arena, right? It comes down to the people's skill and the team play and the coaching and everything like that. That's what makes sports good. Hence why when you're caught stealing or cheating or stealing signs or trying to change something on an advantage and it comes out to light, people look at you and go, yeah, you're not what we thought you were. Come on, Water Bear. All right, go on to the next one. Battlefield 6 first batch of soldiers skins is more tactical than tactical. Nice play on words there. But if you thought that was green skin was a step too far, I don't know what to tell you. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Do appreciate you coming out, hanging out with us each and every single day. As I said, Battlefield 6 first batch of soldier skins are more tactical, okay? It says tactical or tactical. That is the real question when it comes to cosmetics in modern FPS games. Or maybe the secret third answer is completely absurd and silly collaboration of celebrities, like most of the recent ones in Call of Duty. Black Ops 6, which also odd considering I thought it was supposed to be Cold War Fallout 90s spy thriller. Nevertheless, it's a topic that also plagues Battlefield 6 since in the very beginning. The slate of strong military skins in the launch, refreshing to say at least, but with the launch of the rearview mirror now, all eyes are on Battlefield 6 Season 1 to see whether or not the grounded military feelings are completely thrown to the wayside. After a handful of hours playing Season 1's content early, I can report that the first batch of post-launch cosmetics largely continues the delivery of more grounded styles, but those of you who will draw a distinction between the tactical military gear and more stylized, cool soldier apparel, more strictly might see more of this could potentially end up. Okay? It says, well, there's one right there. Okay. It says, Nevertheless, the unflinching regiment skins for the NATO assaults are very toned down, realistic outfits that are very much in line with the most launched skins. The same could be said with the healthy is wealthy support skin, which is also basically a standard military getup with a slight pattern on legs and brighter green and yellow colors. Pax Armada gets a skin. It's also basically a Danish frogman corpse, so that they're both realistic and cool. It says where I think people might have more issues is it with a more stereotypical Call of Duty-like skin, chuck on more layers of equipment like a Swiss Army knife. Fearmonger skin features a white skull face, which also markings on the helmet and vest, similar to the new Samhan skin, featuring skeleton gloves hanging on the vest. Okay, so there you go. The hell are these? Is that like Army Man? Like what are we happening there? The counter accusation skin sees an engineer donning a hood to max out their aurora, while spiteful Mirage reminds me of Modern Warfare 2019 version of Ghost thanks to the long cape. Here's a Wicked Grin skin, which also seems as the free Halloween gift from the store. That was also Wicked Grin. The point is that the new skins are generally unobtrusive and fit the Battlefield 6 overall aesthetics, just like the launch offers. But in found out that one black or green skin to be a step too far, then I'm afraid to say there's way more that came from. Okay. As much of it always is rather restrained cosmetics over a needless deck out, tack cool outfits. I'm also not blind by EA's ambition to make Battlefield 6 successful live service, and time will tell again. So here's what they look like. We're going to bring this up. Okay. Actually, you know what we could do? Can I make this? Can I open up in this a new tab? Yeah. So we can see this a little bit better. So obviously, we knew that this was going to happen, right? These are pretty standard for what the game is. But I have a question. When you're on a team now, okay? When you're on a team now, and this is your squad. Let's just say this is your team. You're running around the battlefield, and you're no longer in the same type of stuff, right? You're one guy's dressed like this, another person's dressed like this. You don't even know if you're on the goddamn same team. Besides, blue team, red team, right? With the Dorito chips above your head, right? Now, if you're fighting against this, you'd be like, "What's going on here?" Okay, but that's where it comes down to the Dorito chip, the diamond above your head, to know that you're bad or good. Okay, here's the other set. Okay, I don't want to say they don't. It's not like they look bad. But where do they go from here? Right? Where do they go from here? Oh, I understand, Water. Right? I understand it's all about looking cool. In a first-person game, by the way, that you don't ever see your skins. Okay? But where do they go from here? What's Season 2 going to bring? Are we going to see this exact same skin, but now it's blue and then orange and then red, right? Like, how many times are you going to see this type of cosmetics come to the game each and every season? Or are they going to have to go down the road and start putting other different cosmetics in the game? This is not going to be the worst that they're going to be. This will be the closest they ever come to being similar to each other. Right? I mean, look at this. This is a pretty step too far. Right? You see what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. Tactical. That's right, tactical. Tactical skins were my Snoop and Nicky and Beavis and Butthead skins. Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen at some point. They're going to add people to look different. Otherwise, they're all going to look pretty similar. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait to buy this skin because I have scissors in my little utility pouch here that I don't see. Right? Oh, man, my guy looks so cool. Try to sell me something in Battlefield 6 for skins. It's not going to happen for me in no way, shape, or form. Because I'm not interested in any of the skins that they bring into this game. Ray says, I hate Halo Infinite. I'm on the red team, but my enemy has a red skin with some blue glowing. My mind takes a 0.4 seconds releasing into my enemy, 0.4 seconds, too late to react. Well, that's why you have to lower your settings, Ray, so you can see the person behind the wall before they get there. Problem solved. Right, give me back red versus blue. That's exactly right. Windsor says, that's the thing. They never make sense to me why people buy cosmetics in a first-person game. I love to know a person's logic. It makes at least more sense for me if someone's buying in third person. Well, the reason they do it is like, I don't know. Why do you buy shoes besides comfort, right? Like in real life, right? Why buy the $100 pair of shoes when you can buy the $30 pair of shoes? Well, people like buying the $100 pair of shoes or $200 pair of shoes because they like showing them off, right? That's the whole thing, right? So in games that are first person, people like to show off their skins. So some people do it for a meme. People are like, I'm going to buy the Beavis and Butthead skin in Call of Duty just so when they get killed, they see Beavis and Butthead. Do you know what I mean? That's what they do it for. So the companies have slid into the skid. Okay. They're like, oh, well, people are going to buy skins and we're going to make the absurd skins and let's see what people buy. So they put the absurd skins in the game and then they see who buys it. And then other people make fun of it and go, oh my God, I can't believe you bought it's so stupid. I'm going to buy it too. Then they buy it. And then you don't see it. But when other people see it, they're like, oh, I can't believe I got killed by Beavis and Butthead. Right. Hence why I said months and months and months and months ago, I said that they'll sell you where you don't get to see the other people's cosmetics. Now think about that for a second. I've said this before, and I'll say it again because it's already out in the universe. Okay, so let's say you're fighting up against Beavis and Butthead, or you're fighting up against these guys, but you don't want to see these skins in your game. You just want to see the default skins. You, as the person that wants to play, they'll sell you. Be like, oh, you don't want to see the other people buying skins and ruining your game for you? Well, we'll sell you the reverse thing where you get to activate the thing that all skins look default. Now, think about this. That means the people that bought the skins want you to see the skins, but the people that don't want to see the skins paid for. So these people think that you can see the skins, but these people don't want to see your skins, and they're making money on both sides. It'll happen. It'll happen. Yeah, I'm not interested. The more and more it comes out, I'm waiting for that battle royale. I'm waiting to see what happens with Portal. We've already seen the nerfing of the XP. We already have the gauntlet mode. We have the 4v4 mode coming in next week. It's going to be interesting. I want to see what happens with the game. I want to see what happens with the player base. I want to see what happens with the mats. I want to see how they're going to support this game going forward. Because if battle royale takes off, they're not going to support the actual game itself. We know that. We know that. So we'll see. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think about the, I want to say the Call of Duty skins, but the Battlefield skins coming in? Do you want your military games to be more traditional military, or are you okay with, going too far? Like, I'm okay with the painted face, like a skull on it and stuff like that. Cool. But when you start putting fluorescent paint and all that other stuff in the game, and then all of a sudden now you're going down that rabbit hole where that gets boring. So what do you have to bring in next, right? I don't know. I'd rather play Star Wars Battlefront at that point with all the different cosmetics and stuff that are there, because at least I know stormtroopers are stormtroopers, and the other team doesn't have stormtroopers, so it doesn't matter what the stormtrooper looks like. I know they're the bad guy, right? But again, these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Stell says, Power Wash Simulator 2 is out. Also, interesting game called Dispatch. Dispatch is out. Power Wash 2 is out. Another game came out on Game Pass called, what was that called? Eclipse. The mech one. Oh, I forget what the one that you said yesterday in our stream. That seems interesting as well. What's going on, Mr. Luke? Mr. Luke says it's looking closer and closer. I'm going to wait until it's free on EA Play. Yeah. And look, I'm sure it's a fun game. I'm sure we would have fun in it. But I'll have fun later down the road, too, when they actually fix the game. Bounty Star. Thank you, Stealth. That's it. Yep. Ray says when Halo Infinite beta released, it also knew they were free to play. It was going where it was going. Oh, of course, because that's what they have to do. They have to make the money. See, I'm okay when you're doing something like Marvel Rivals, right? Because Marvel Rivals is comic book characters from different comic book eras and stuff like that. That's cool. That's what the fans want. When you play a military sim, I'll take the sim part out. When you play a military shooter, I don't want to see Beavis and Butthead running around the thing. I don't want to see a fluorescent green painted military guy from the UK Army or the Canadian Army or the Russian Army, in fluorescent green paint. I don't want to see that. Salty says they should have just stuck with the traditional military uniforms, but players like bright colors. They like bright colors so they can see them hiding in a bush. Yeah, like go get this one, right? Someone go buy this one. The whole team should be on this color. I would love to see you from a super far distance away, seeing your fluorescent green paint across the map. Please, please go out and buy these things. All right. That is it for that one. What time is it? 10:35? Okay. All right, this is an interesting one. I was gonna keep this for tonight, but I was like, you know what? I want to read this morning, and maybe we can have a conversation again tonight on GXG. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Over 5,000 games were released on Steam this year, which is way lower than last year. We had 19,000, okay? And didn't make enough money to recover the $100 fee. Oh, I guess it's only 5,000 games were released on Steam this year that didn't make the money to recover. So there's way more than a 5,000 games a fee to put on Game and Valve Store researchers estimate, okay? So, and over 8,000 games are estimated to have earned under 1,000. So, okay, so there's 5,000 games that didn't make the $100 fee back. There's 8,000 games that made or haven't earned or earned under $1,000. Okay. Oh, there's 13,000. Okay, here we go. It says, don't bother sitting down because you'll just stand up when you hear this. A ton of games were released on Steam this year. Valve Store has seen nearly 13,000 games launch since January 1st of 2025, according to Steam's data. Okay. And the majority of the games went straight under the couch to have forgotten for the rest of the time, like lost batteries. Sort of like my YouTube channel. Okay. So regularly updates in the data, but also these particular milestones and thresholds were recently flagged on social media. Okay. The creator of turn-based roguelike RPG Soulash, okay, and markedly more popular sequel, Soulash 2. As of today, Steam has also seen an estimated 12,732 games released in 2025. Got a couple months left. That's going to go up to about 15,000, right? It's important to call out now that Gamealytic uses relatively soft estimation methodology, since we can only glean into some without proper access to Valve's data. In a self-assessment, okay, the individual games are tested have shown as 77% of estimates were within 30% margins of error, while 98% were within a 50% error margin. Well, that's a terrible margin. Okay, further claiming that at an aggregated level, estimates were at 99% accurate. Okay. More popular and active games provide more data to work with. Often the official reports compare against leading, more accurate estimations. Okay, the caveats include greater for smaller and free-to-play games, sure, to be many of the last profitable games on Steam, inaccurate Steam bundle sales estimation, and potential bugs. That being said, the volume of reportedly low-selling games evaluated using multiple data points does say something about the quiet masses of overlooked games on Steam. They offer less data for estimates, with also the lead to greater deviation, but they also have less data available for the reason. In other words, they even assume that 50% of the error, 50%, very little, still very little. 8% of releases are estimated to have grossed over $100,000. Okay. 40% didn't see a return on their $100 release cost. Okay. Which is not refundable, but recouped once your game app reaches 1,000 in adjusted gross revenue. A chart shared, it appears executive or exclusive premium versions of this show that the bottom 30% of games by revenue average about $37 in apparent grosses. Okay, freely available portions of 2025's data claim that 8,388 or 65.9% of 2025 Steam releases earned less than $1,000 in revenue. 47.4% are estimated to have sold under 100 copies, with 28% estimated between 100 and 1,000 copies. It goes without saying that completely free-to-play games with internal auxiliary and monetization like support dev DLC aren't going to make any money, and these data shouldn't be treated as gospel. But the sheer volume of largely unnoticed games released on Steam, relatively of the store's huge annual volume, remain fascinating side effect of PC gaming. More open developer culture, which also sees many people put hobbyist games on Steam purely for fun with no expectations of viable business. I mean, you can see why Game Pass, from this stat, you can see why people that are developers would be willing to put their game on Game Pass, right? Because if I put it on Steam and I don't get, right, we're not talking about the AAA games. We're not talking about the single indie games that come out of the woodwork and all of a sudden become very popular. Obviously, make a game, sell a game. But can you see now, well, the customers and people that don't play Game Pass are like, this is terrible for the industry, but yet people are making video games and putting them on Steam and they don't get any money whatsoever. But if they took a contract with Microsoft to put it on Game Pass, it doesn't really matter if they get paid now, right? Now, obviously, we know that each individual company gets different monetization value, right? Some get paid up front. Some get paid a percentage. Some get paid when they play the game, whatever it is. But again, as a developer, if you're making a video game and someone comes up to you and says, hey, how many games do you think you're going to sell? I think I'm going to sell 10,000 copies. And they're like, great. What was your budget? How many do you have to sell to make back? I need to sell 10,000 games to make money back, to make this percentage, to make a profit. And they're like, great. Here you go. Thank you, Mr. Microsoft. I'm going to go put my game on your Game Pass now. And if nobody plays it, I have the money up front that they just paid me to put that game on Game Pass, right? That helps the developer, okay? It doesn't help us, the consumer, but it does help us see and find more games, okay? So, very interesting. I mean, even on YouTube, do you understand that? I mean, I only have 2,600 subscribers on my channel, okay? 2,600 subscribers on my channel. Yet, I make money on YouTube, and I'm in the 1%. Okay, I'm in the 1% on YouTube that makes money on YouTube. And I only have 2,600 subscribers. Somebody else has 100,000 subscribers, 1 million subscribers, and they also make money. They're also in the 1%. Okay, there's I forget how many people are actually, let me actually look it up. How many people are actually streaming on YouTube? Right, because a lot of people don't actually stream. How many channels on YouTube? There are over 115 million YouTube channels as of August of 2025. 115 million YouTube channels. How many channels on YouTube make money? A small fraction of YouTube channels make money, with estimates suggesting around 0.3% to 5%. All the channels are profitable or make comfortable living, while about 2 million creators are on YouTube Partner Program. The vast majority of creators, perhaps up to 96%, earn less than $12,000 annually, and many earn very little to nothing at all. Okay? So the reason I bring this up, is because that's exactly how it is making a video game and putting it on Steam. It's actually you actually have a better chance of making money making a video game and putting it on Steam than making a YouTube channel and making money. Okay? A lot better chance. Okay? Because there's only 15,000 games that came out this year. Okay? And you could be one of those people that get their $100 back. Okay? Or $1,000 to make their money back from the $100 they put in. So it is an interesting stat, right? But again, we talked about this on Game Pass as well when we were talking about Tunic. When Tunic came out on Game Pass, Tunic came out and they said it was very profitable for them because of what happened. But they said the more and more people come out with video games, right? Because there's the AA games, there's the AAA games. The more of those games come onto Game Pass, and then more indie games come on the Game Pass, the catalog gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's harder for people to try to make money. So now you look at this, right? How is it that it's going to get oversaturated and everyone's going to make money? They're not. So you're going to have to start making quality stuff, and then you're going to have to try to get your quality stuff that you're making out to the masses. That's the hard part. Okay, make a channel, make a game, write a book, make a movie. Okay, but then you have to get it out there. And well, how do you get it out there? Well, you have to have more money to advertise your channel or advertise your book or advertise your movie or advertise your game, okay? And that's where people can't do it. And they're like, oh, I'm just going to kind of do guerrilla marketing. I'm going to try to get it out as much as possible. So can you blame a developer for taking money off a streaming service, right? Directors are doing it with Netflix and Amazon Plus and HBO, right? Instead of putting it in theaters and seeing if it makes money. They would rather take the money up front, put their movie straight to Netflix, straight to Amazon, straight to Steam, or I'm sorry, straight to Game Pass, instead of putting it into this large vat of games that you may never ever see or hear of ever, but they put a game out there. I mean, I'm in that boat. In the YouTube pool, I'm in that boat. Okay? In the board game space, I'm in that boat. I made a game, put it out there, but because we couldn't advertise because we didn't have money, it didn't go anywhere. Imagine that, right? And then it's just another game that's just out in the void that nobody knows about, right? So that's just the way it goes. So I'm not really too surprised by this, and I'm not really too shocked about, 8,000 out of 15,000 of just this year didn't make $1,000. But how many games came out last year? 19,000. How many games came out the year before that? 14,000. How many games came out the year before that? 12,000, right? So that's a lot of games. By that 5 year span, there's like 70,000 games that have come out, and you have to be one of those games to be able to get into that market for people to buy. So, but these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe if you like what I do here. Check out some of our other videos. Let's see here. Fan fiction, novel writers, graphic designers does suffer the same thing. Yeah, every place does. Here, I'll do another example for you, right? So the music industry is in trouble. The music industry is in trouble, okay? Because I can make a song like this, okay? I'll play this one.
I remember the nights, the red dot sights, heartbeat racing in the flashing lights. Back in the days it was fight or die. Now it's all skins just to look fly. No more teamwork, just solo cues. Every match feels.
And I'll tell you what I'm doing here in a second.
We had soul, now it's battle passes with no control. We used to drop in with purpose, now it's all surface. No heart in the fight, just noise in the furnace. They chase trends, forgot the roots, lost the boots. Now it's flashy suits, Call of Duty. What happened to you? You were the fire, now you just fumes. From modern warfare to a neon dream. You lost your edge, forgot the team.
All right, so that's a song that it took me about 45 minutes to write. Okay, it took me 45 minutes to write it. Right, and then I put it in the music program, and it took the computer program about 10 seconds to make a song. And then I did that multiple times over until I found a beat that I liked, and then I put it together. Okay, the music industry is in massive problems. The movie industry is going to be in massive problems as well in a couple of months to years. Okay, because artists out there that are very talented that can make music, and they all get together and they all make a song and produce it and all that stuff, right? And then they get it out there. They put it on the radio. They make money. They put it on Spotify and all that other stuff, okay? If everybody can do what I just did, then the market becomes like steam. It becomes oversaturated because everyone can make music. Everybody. Everybody has all the knowledge to them on the phone in their pocket. Everybody is a photographer. Everybody is a videographer. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody is a writer because of the technology that we have now, which then overshadows. And then everybody before, to be in the movie industry, you had to go through these steps to get there. To be in the music industry, you had to go through these steps to get there. Now, I can do it for $10 a month. $10 a month, I get a bunch of credits and I can put together something and then just make something. And what happens is now that's oversaturated. Okay, because I can make hundreds of songs, thousands of songs. Now, tens of thousands of people are also doing that as well. Okay, so yes, can somebody that is talented use that ability to make better music? To a point, yeah, right? But then it's still oversaturated. You still have to have the means to get the thing that you've created and get it through all of this to try to get seen, right? And then if you're at the top, you got to try to stay at the top. You got to try to stay to be the next, if you're, Taylor Swift, right? She came out with a new album, okay? She's trying to top herself because no one's near her stratosphere, okay? But now she's trying to top herself, and then that's pressure. But now everybody else can be or try to make what she's doing, and it just gets oversaturated, right? So that's happening in the video games now because video games are much easier to make nowadays. Okay, everyone can just download a program and start making games. They don't have to go to school for it, right? There's AI-generated, people are making AI-generated games now. People are making AI-generated songs, AI-generated movies and commercials, right? So there's going to be a lot of slop. It's going to be like Portal in Battlefield 6, okay? It's going to be like Portal in Battlefield 6. Waterbear says, so is this the reason why games keep going up? Because they're paying for the indie devs trash games? No, I wouldn't say it's because they're paying for indie trash games, Water. I would think it's because the people that are buying $70 games are going to buy $80 games. And those people are going to buy $90 games because the market, 20% makes 80%. So for every person that says, I'm not going to pre-order, and then they go out and pre-order, and they're like, yeah, see, we raised the price $10 and they still pre-order. We still had 5 million people pre-order this game. So they're like, where can we go for it? Well, let's see what else we can do. The market bears what the market bears. It has nothing to do with because Steam, the story for Steam, they're not paying those people. They're paying $100 to put their game on the actual the actual platform, and they don't make that money back unless they make $1,000 of that, and they're not. For $30 a month Game Pass, I would skip any game that isn't over $40 price tag. For $30 a month Game Pass, I would skip any game that isn't over $40 price tag. I guess it all depends on what type of game it is. Right? Aku says, we have all the information in our pockets and we still have idiots. It's very, very true, Aku. Oh, Aku, it just reminded me, because you said idiots. And because I was making shorts from my past videos, I happened to look at my other shorts that I had, and over a year ago, almost 2 years ago, because it's been like a year and a half, I made a short about Fallout TV show, right? The Fallout TV show. And I have a short that I said that, in my opinion, they screwed up because they should have made it week by week. And there's, you know what? Let me see how many people. There's not one person in the comments section. Hold on, I gotta look this up. There's not one person in this comment section. Let's see. Where is the Bethesda? Yay. Breakthrough, Zuckerberg, Embracer, Lawbreaker, Bethesda dropped the ball. Okay. These companies, I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. I think this is the one. Okay. So this is from like, I don't even know how long ago this was from. These companies, okay. So this is my opinion. Okay. That Fallout TV series should have been week by week because it would have lasted longer. They could have made more money from advertisers each and every single week, you know, over 2 months and stuff like that. And I said that the next one basically is going to be, right, week by week. Want a hit TV show, but yet at the same time, they also cripple their own TV show. Fallout, to me, would have been a bigger hit. It would be a bigger buzz. After this first episode, they launched the first episode, people right now would be clamoring, what's going to happen in Fallout Episode 2? Not only would it be better for everybody watching, it'd be better for the company, it'd be better for the marketing, it'd be better for the actual video games, it'd be better for everything. If you have a good show, make a game, sell a game. Make a show, sell a show. People would go, oh, did you hear about that Fallout show? Oh no, what's it on? It's on Amazon Prime. But if they want to get into that culture of watch it every single week, every Thursday, every Friday, people sit down and then they discuss it. They go on Twitter. Oh man, I can't wait. They go to the Discords. They go to their chat rooms. They go to the Reddits, whatever. It would have been a much better experience. And I think Bethesda and Amazon dropped the ball here. These companies, okay, there's 116 people that commented on this short, okay? 116 people. Not one person, except Aku, agreed. Okay, everybody here told me, L take, not going to happen. All these people, right? Replies and all these other people calling me names, people making fun of me, told me I had no idea what I was talking about. And yet, for some strange reason, Amazon decided to make Fallout Season 2 week by week. Huh. Amazing. It's almost like Microsoft, Bethesda, and Amazon didn't know if they had a hit on their hands, and they were scared at the time, 2 years ago, that they had to drop it all at once because they didn't think anybody was going to. But then it was actually good. The actual product was good, and people wanted to watch it. And people still don't understand why, okay, why people want to watch it week by week. They're like, well, it doesn't make sense. It sounds like a problem with you that you can't look at social media. It's like, no, do you understand that a business that sells advertisement space, because I know you guys don't like advertisements, but the advertisements make the world go around, right? The reason that you have TV shows and stuff like that is because most people don't pay for shit. And to pay for shit, they have to get other people to pay that money. And that's where the advertisers come in, okay? And then because the advertisers give them a shit ton of money, then they can give it to you at a cheaper price, which is sort of like what consoles used to do and lose money to get you in the ecosystem, okay? So when you get hooked to a TV show, they got to ring you out for 22 episodes back in the past, and now they're only doing 8. So imagine dropping 8 episodes, but all at once. Where's your advertisement? One advertiser for that one run of that one day instead of every week on a Thursday leading up to it. Here's the next Fallout series. Here's the next thing. Like, it blows my mind that people don't understand that. They're like, well, I'm just not going to watch and support it until after all things come out. Great. When all 8 episodes are out 2 months from now, then you can binge watch it. And it doesn't affect anybody else because your ass didn't sit down and watch it for the whole 8 episodes and then go to Twitter and ruin the final finale of the episode. Okay? Or completely ruin it for everybody else, because as soon as you ruin it for everybody else, the company's like, well, no one's going to watch our show now because they know the ending. Right? So this is why they put it out week by week. And this is why they have advertisers, hence why Amazon's putting commercials like old television is now, because less people are actually paying for the actual thing. But what do I know? I've only been working in the business for 20 years. AI visual effects looks better than 85% of the traditional visual effects artists in modern movies. That's fact. Waterbear says 30. I meant Game Pass keeps going up. Everything goes up, though. Disney Plus is raising their prices. ESPN raised their prices, right? Game Pass is going to raise their prices. Everyone's going to raise their prices. This is not a Microsoft Game Pass thing. This is all the companies have too much overhead, and they have to fire people and raise the prices to make the counter to equal out the scale. Now you know what's going on. What happened, right? People are going to be pissed, and they didn't release it all at once and to binge. Yeah, they will. 100%. You can already see it in articles and stuff. They're like, I'm not going to watch the show now. Okay. Right? Good is good. If it's a good show, people will watch it. If it's a good game, people will play it. If it's a good movie, people will see it. If it's a good book, people will read it. See, those people that want to binge are probably the same people that bitch about, well, they'll pay for an $80 video game, but they won't pay 2 months of $10. Do you know what I mean? Right? They're like, $80 games, that's where it's supposed to be. $10 for 2 months to watch a show? Pff, nobody's got time for that. Oh, okay. They're also returning back to the weekly model. Otherwise, you watch it, discuss it, and that's it for the next thing. That's right. On to the next thing. It literally collapses the entire industry. And you could thank Netflix for that. The ads come back because the model isn't viable without financial. That's correct. Because people don't pay. People pirated stuff all the time with stuff, right? All the time. they do it. But these are the same people that'll sit there in front of you and say, well, you got to pay for the $80 video games. You got to buy the stuff, but they won't pay $6 for a rental movie, or they won't pay $10 for the month to watch unlimited movies for the week because they don't have time. Right? Literally reverting back to the standard model. Yes, because that's what worked. It worked. You know what also works? I always bring this up. This works right here. See this remote control? You don't need to design this thing over and over again. They just keep adding more buttons to it. You see how many buttons there are? Remember, there used to be like volume, channel up and down, and that was it because there was like little channels. But now there's thousands of channels. Now I don't even have TV. I'm back down to 3 channels: YouTube, ESPN, and Netflix. Right? But this is the simplistic thing. You don't have to change this. This works just fine. It's the best form of a controller. Just your thumb on a button. That's it. Right? The old model of television worked fine until, wait for it, until it got oversaturated. There was 3 channels, then there was 7 channels, then there was 100 channels, then there was 1,000 channels, then there was 1,000 TV shows on those channels. Okay. TV used to shut off at like 1 o'clock in the morning and go back on at 6. Now it's 24/7, thousands of things. You can make a TV show and never be seen, right? You can have a YouTube channel and never be seen, right? There's so much content. Yeah, we already passed the skin debate, Jones. Ray says for 8 weeks you'll be sad in your corner while everyone else is on the internet at work talking the hype of the TV show. You'll complain that you're smarter by waiting and then binge watch the show. Yeah, and they can do that. But while we're sitting here slowly watching it and going, oh, did you guys see that thing? Oh, no, I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to wait for all 8 episodes to come out, and then I'm going to pay for it. Can we go to the sushi bar? I'm going to spend $40 on lunch today. I can't afford the $10 for 2 months. It's just too much. Remember when Game of Thrones was weekly? We discussed that new episode every week at the job. Also make time to go by faster too. Yes, that's what builds it up. That's why people talk about things. They discuss things. There's fandoms. Fandoms are completely destroyed. I don't want to pay $8 for a video game. Goes and buys a $40 skin and COD. That's exactly right. But it is probably better for a business with weekly model. It's 1,000% better for the business. You know, the thing that actually needs to make money so they can make more content for you. Roku TV remote is God tier. Sadly, the OS is worthless. Imagine going to TV going off now at 12 midnight. Yeah, people would lose their minds. They lose their minds. They lose their minds when the internet is slow for 2 seconds. That's right. The national anthem used to come on. I think it was 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't think it was midnight. I think it was 1 o'clock. Maybe it was midnight. And then I remember you used to watch, at least this is when I was a kid. I would stay up late on my black and white television. And I'm not born in like the 50s and 60s. That's all we could afford. I had a small 7-inch, okay, my iPad is the same size of my first television set that I ever had, okay? It was a 7-inch screen, and I used to watch late night, okay, Johnny Carson, right? And then later, David Letterman and stuff. I would watch those shows. I'd stay up late in my room, and I would watch those shows, and then the news would come on right after, and then the TV would shut off. That's what would happen. You would have your 11:30 spot of Johnny Carson, whatever it was, and then after that, it was like a half hour of news, and then the TV shut off. That's what happened. I literally bounced from series to series, 4 to 5 weekly. There's plenty to enjoy. Crowd says, Mike, what do you think about the new ARC drama? People are lowering their settings so they get through the bushes. We talked about that earlier. I think it's stupid. We talked about like cheating and stuff like that. Like I think it's funny that people have $4,000 systems and they want the best quality and everything else, but then they also lower their settings so they can get the advantage over somebody else while they're playing a video game. It's just funny. I mean, I think it's dumb, but that's why I play against console players usually when I go up against people. I don't like cross-play when it comes. It's nice to have cross-play if you have a buddy over there and you want to play with them and stuff like that, but if you're doing competitive or PvP type of stuff, you have to go up against people that are on the same, what you would hope is the same playing field. All right. Let's get over to, because it's a 20-minute. Oh, I have Zack Snyder. I don't think we have time to talk about Zack Snyder's verse. We might talk about that tonight. We'll talk about that tonight. I want to go to Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds review came out. ACG's got a review. If we have time after this, then we'll talk about that. Roadkill says, "Man, I would watch Files, Unsolved Mysteries, like to 1 to 4 in the morning when I was in high school all the time." Entitled 30, ever had my own TV until I was like 35? Well, I don't know what to tell you. My parents loved me. I don't know what to tell you, Z. My parents both worked 2 jobs apiece, and they gave me a 7-inch tube television set, wood paneling, with the rabbit ears, I didn't pay $4K for a damn gaming rig to lower my settings to enjoy Arc Raiders. Yeah, a lot of people do. Have an episode of original Star Trek, then National Anthem. Yeah, that's it. That's how it used to be. You just shut off, and you'd be like, "What's happening here?" It would just. They literally shut the TV off, and they're like, "Wait a minute, we can make a lot more money with infomercials and stuff from the people that are insomniacs and they're staying up all night long." Remember, there was a whole section of content just created for late night television. Yeah, there was no thefts of television sets back then, Salty. They were just too heavy to fucking pick up and steal. So they're like, yeah, just let's leave it. I've shown this on stream before. I'm not going to look it up again. We had this, I want to say it was a Sony television set. It was the living room TV. It was an all-inclusive one box. The thing it had to weigh 1,000 pounds. It had the television, it had the record player, it had the stereo system it had speakers built in, storage. It was wooden. It was this gigantic thing. We had it in our living room. The thing was gigantic. Big knobs and switches. It was awesome. It was a fantastic television set. Yeah. TV, recorder, beta, player, Betamax, and everything included. It was gigantic. You couldn't move it. Remember TV cabinets? Yeah, this was built into a TV cabinet. It was its own TV cabinet, Crowded. Do you remember the stereo systems that used to be, like, each section was like this big, and you had to have like 4 of them because you had the amplifier, you had the tape deck, you had the CD player with the 660 CD changer. You had everything, and you had the big speakers that were like this tall. Yeah, those are great. Do you guys ever have a big ass radio with the speaker? Wooden, I think. My dad had it with the amplifier, speaker, cassette deck, and yeah, I just said that. Yeah, I just said that. It'd be open up the doors and pump the sound throughout the neighborhood. Yeah. All right, let's go to. Let me see. You know, I got to find this thing now. Sarge, it was a Sony TV, wasn't it? It was this giant beast of a machine. Let's see. I think it was Sony. I think I just found my old TV, yeah, but that's too... All in one unit. Maybe that's what I have to put in. 70s. There's a mass... Oh, found it. Found it. This is it right here. This is it right here. This thing, okay. 1975, first Betamax came bundled with a 19-inch TV enclosed in a wooden cabinet selling for $2,295. Okay. It'd be $10,000 right now. Okay. There it is in all its glory. I used to fuck with that clock all the time. Okay. I used to fuck with that clock all the time. So the speakers were built in at the bottom of the thing here. All right. This was a cabinet that opened up and you put your Betamax tapes in there. Okay. Up here, this is your beta player. These are the dials and stuff to tune it in. You had hidden cabinets and switches in here. This thing was so fucking heavy. $19 Yeah, it was. You would open it up. It was the jail to open up and put the Autobots in. You tagged me? All right, let me look what you got. What is that? The bump box? Oh, you're talking, yeah, back in the 80s, man. Everyone had a boom box they would carry around. Yeah. I love how were they selling this now as a yeah. That was every day. That and cardboard. People would bring cardboard and start breakdancing out in the middle of the roads. They're nice. I had a fake electric fireplace in my action figures adventure. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it was gigantic. All right, let's get to the Outer Worlds 2 review. So ACG is a content creator on YouTube. Go check out his channel. Links in the description down below. We will be watching it and stopping and pausing and talking about it. If you want to watch his content, which I please go over there. If you want to watch just the review of Outer Worlds, you don't want to hear me yap and whatnot, go over there. We're going to watch and listen to his review or his thoughts and review of Outer Worlds 2.
Let's not pretend Obsidian doesn't know exactly what they're doing. The Outer Worlds 2 opens with a kind of smugly self-aware propaganda broadcast that would make Paul Verhoeven pop a champagne cork. It basically says, welcome to the new solar system, a world on fire, sponsored by people who sell fire extinguishers. You're an agent of the Earth Directorate, the interstellar equivalent of an overworked UN intern with a gun, crash landing on Arcadia, a new colony being slowly torn apart by cosmic rifts and human stupidity. It's got all the flavors of a sci-fi disaster. Bitter collapsing governments, sweet overzealous corporations trying to sell you stuff, sour zealot scientists arguing that innocence got in the...
Oh yeah, we used to make it with we had this whole kit that you would take tinfoil and you can melt wax and stuff and make stuff. It was cool.
Way of their collection of data, and one guy in a lab coat promising that ripping holes in the space-time continuum is totally fine, bro. Arcadia is the anti-Halcyon. Where the first Outer Worlds felt like a theme park with capitalism decals, Arcadia starts out as a fractured world whose very sky looks like somebody punched.
I liked the first Outer Worlds. I didn't love the first Outer Worlds. I thought it was good. I didn't love it. Right? I'm interested in this, but I'm also not interested in this.
Punched reality in the face, and not the only place that you end up going, but it is certainly a first look and an atmospheric one. And those rifts caused by skip drive technology gone wrong aren't just purple fireworks. They're actually devouring the systems, destabilizing everything from trade to sanity. Into that blender step 3 major factions: the Protectorate, which are militarized peace fetishists; Auntie's Choice, which is a corporate cult of happy fascists; the bastard but not actually bastard child of 2 of the original game's factions; and the Order of the Ascendant, scientific prophets who treat math like religion. All 3 are insane in their own beautifully distinct ways, and all of them want your help saving or breaking what's left of this.
See, here's the thing, right? Game Pass is $30 now. This was going to be a $80 game. They lowered it to a $70 game. So people look at it like this. They're like, well, I don't want to buy this game. Okay, well, if you don't want to buy the game, then you don't want to pay the $70. It's on Game Pass, and you're like, well, I don't want to pay $30 because then I don't own it. Well, it's like, if you're interested in the game, you could either purchase it for $70, and then you would own it, or you pay $30, play it, and then put it down and move on with your life. Okay, but a lot of people are like complaining that, well, I don't want to pay $70. Okay, well, you can pay $30. Well, I don't want to pay the $30 either. Okay, well, then you're not interested in the game, so let's move on from the conversation.
System. And we're going to jump into that system. If you guys get a chance, jump into the comments, leave a comment, give it a thumbs up. As you guys know, we'll be giving away codes to people in the comment section, as we always do. Really, when you think about it, where Halcyon's corporations were storefronts for old warring gods with their followers a bit too tired to really find somebody else to pray to, Arcadia's factions are industrial, newer gods, younger ones, more active ones. And there's a sense...
Can we just say that Obsidian has 3 games this year? 3 games in 1 year. They had Avowed, Grounded 2, and now this in 1 year. There are some companies that can't make 3 games in their entire career. They had 3 games in 1 year.
Of zeal that you feel in the game pretty much throughout. And while not technically the only factions in the game or the only NPCs that make up the game, any of those 2 groups, regardless of what they're doing, are always sort of bouncing off those 3 others. When it comes to the game...
Of course it wasn't worth $70. That's why people played it on Game Pass, House. Right? I mean, some people would say it's a good game, but it's not worth even owning. Which, if you just played it on Game Pass, you played it on Game Pass. The choice is this. Either don't get it day one, don't pay $30, and then wait a year before it goes on sale, like a massive discount, where you get it for like $20, $15, and then buy it. Right? But those are options. Day and date for $30, buy it for $70, or wait a year and a half to get it down to $15 and then buy it then. Most people were either going to take the first 2 options. Me personally, I'd be like, if I didn't have Game Pass, I'd be like, I'll get it on sale down the road.
Play. If the first Outer World was a snarky Fallout in space, this one's more of a sort of cynical Mass Effect. You start in a propaganda film, as I said before, heroism, and you end up face first in a world where every moral compass spins a bit like a slot machine instead of pointing in any one direction. That's where you come in. The structure's pretty familiar. First-person RPG, dialogue-driven choices, gunplay that matters a bit more this time, but the tuning is noticeably, at times, tighter, meaner, and finally blessed with a couple quality-of-life improvements. Let's start with character creation. So this isn't going to win any awards for depth. You're not sculpting a new face of evil here, but it's clean and pretty deliberate.
Well, at least it's better than their Avowed game where I had this growth on my face and I couldn't get rid of it. I mean, you could get rid of it, but they still talk about it, that you have it on your face and stuff. I was just like, really? It's like they had a pretty good system there, but they kind of ruined it.
You get a few body types. You got to stack a preset you can go through and some sliders. You can adjust your scars and your makeup, your age, your wrinkles, but not enough to make your character look like an impressionist painting of Steve Buscemi, which frankly is probably for the best. The real magic starts when you pick your background, like in Mass.
Here's the thing, though. I get you want to make your character and role play and stuff like that, but isn't this a first-person game? Again, you don't see your character.
Effect 1, your choice actually alters a small part of the starting, but also into the fiction itself a little bit, as well as offering a larger number of choices.
Can you go third person? If you can go third person, I'm fine with that.
In narrative and exploration and gameplay. For example, even at the starting, if you pick a hardened ex-merc and you stride into your first encounter, you can do so like a soldier who's been through some shit. Or you can pick a soft-spoken academic character and you're treated a bit more like cannon fodder. It's subtle, but it's the kind of thing that I think a lot of players really expect from Obsidian, and they do have some of that throughout the game. You dive into the perk and flaw system next. This is somehow even a bit more cruelly funny than the original game was. There's over 90, I think, full perks that you can get. And depending on how you play, you can also start collecting flaws that reflect back on the way you play, usually offering a pretty huge bonus to that particular style.
That's a cool mechanic.
But also,
I like that. I mean, the people that like to dive in and stuff like that, where now they're doing pros and cons to your effects, I like that, because if the people that do buy the game, there's things that you can do for replayability purposes and stuff like that, which is always nice.
Offering some insanely harsh negatives as well. Now, Obsidian clearly took inspiration from old school RPG sadomasochism. You pick your flavor of brilliance or stupidity, and you have to live with it here. If you pick lucky, enjoy those extra criticals. Pick dumb, prepare to fail speech checks like you're trying to charm a vending machine, but at the same time, might be impervious to a couple things. My favorite overall is like resilience. It literally delays your death by 3 or 4 seconds. And it's like the game's way of saying,
no, I get that, because what you're missing, what I'm saying is the people that want the detail for customization, right? If you're role playing, and don't get me wrong, role play all you want, but if you're like, well, the customization's not that good, they don't have scars and they don't have different things, it's like, well, you're not going to see those. And unless your scar on your face is being represented by a character in the game going, ooh, what happened to your face, right? It doesn't fucking matter if there's scars or blemishes on your face, because if you're role-playing, you're role-playing. So it doesn't matter if you're seeing this stuff. You're like, I'm a thief inside the game, and I'm this rugged-looking guy, but it doesn't really matter because you can't see it anyway. So my point is, if you're going to put something in the customization, then there has to be a point for it to happen in the game. Maybe if you make your character ugly, people look at you and go, ugh, like they did in Avowed. Okay, maybe certain people won't talk to you, and then it doesn't unlock something in the game because you're ugly. Okay, but then if you make yourself beautiful, then the person starts talking to you, and it opens up different things. Like, have a reason to put the things on your character in a customization if it does something in the game. But if it's just a scar on the face, but I can't see it, and you're like, well, the customization's a little bad for the game because you can't do this, but you can't see it anyway, so it doesn't matter. There's no point to it.
And you know what? You suck, but we respect that hustle. Skills have been retooled as well. The usual suspects return. You got engineering, up close, science, leadership, but their bonuses, for the most part, have a bit more.
Exactly, Ray. Fables where people could make fun of you depending on your customization. If you want to make a customization, make it have substance for the actual game. If it's just a scar on your face, just to put a scar on your face because you want to look back badass because you're role playing, but there's no actual thing, and you never ever see the look because you're wearing a helmet or doing something else, then there's no point for the developers to put it in the actual game. But people will knock off points because they're like, well, customization is not as good as these other games. Division, fantastic. You can do customizations, the way I look badass when I'm running around in third person. Arc Raiders, make it look like cool, put stuff in there because I'm running around in third person. First person games, you don't see yourself.
It's not rare for you to be talking to somebody in this game and see items, skills, and past quests all.
Imagine, right? Imagine this is your character. You put the scars, you put the stuff, you put the thing, then you see yourself in a cutscene, but you're wearing a mask. What was the point?
Have an impact in discussion, but also too, items and skills. Go up to an area to hack it, and sometimes it's not just your ability, but different items you can stack together to get through something. I really did like that. Combat itself feels a bit faster and weightier and a little less like an FPS from 2013. It's still not perfect. Obsidian clearly...
Is that when did the last Outer Worlds come out? What year did that come out? It wasn't 2013, was it? I thought it was like 2018, wasn't it? When did Outer Worlds 1 come out? $2019. Okay. I was like, wait, no. Outer Worlds Yeah, October 25th, 2019. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, he's saying that the gameplay of the last one felt like it was from 2013. Well, that's because the game was made in 2013 and released in 2019. That's why.
Had stated that they had cribbed from Destiny and Halo, and some parts of that actually sort of feels like it's true. Some enemies stagger properly, for instance, and your gadgets actually give you some real combat options instead of just tricks. Sliding, double jumping, and swapping between third and first person all feel more natural. Though that last one wasn't in the last game, it does actually feel a bit like they took a hint or two from Avowed. It's never going to be Doom Eternal or Halo itself. You're not bunny hopping.
I mean, it does feel, and when I say feel, I'm not playing it, but look, and because it looks the way it looks, it feels the same to me. I played Avowed, and it kind of just looks like a sci-fi Avowed.
Through plasma storms, but it's finally fluid enough to stop feeling like an RPG that's just wearing shooter cosplay. That said, this is still Outer Worlds. You're not a one-man army. You're a semi-competent leader of a dysfunctional improv troupe with guns who also, for some reason, bickers like school kids or brothers and sisters. Your companions always argue, they interrupt, and occasionally they'll save your ass by accident. You can issue basic commands as well, or let them go freelance this way or that way, and just see if they bring back disaster or success. And yes, time dilation is still here, slow-mo abilities that turn gunfights into ballet of bad decisions, and missed shots that you can slowly watch go right past an enemy as you get shot and your eyes close and that shadow goes over the screen, which I just think is hilarious. You can go into a group, sneak, use a mod for one of your weapons, maybe throw a noise.
What they just did there, that's pretty cool.
You can go.
He shrunk the guy down.
Go into a group, sneak.
And then it turns to their point of view? Or is that your point of view? You shrunk down. That's pretty cool. I've been asking for that for Ant-Man and Marvel Rivals forever.
Use a mod for one of your weapons, maybe throw a noise grenade as they turn around, you sneak up behind him, stab one, turn, shoot his coworker as he's in the midst of talking about how much he dislikes another person that's in the group. Empathy optional? Sure. Enemy AI? Well, that's also sure. Some of the time, it's of the let's not do a full background check on this guy variety. I can say on higher difficulties, though, they can hit you from far away, which does add a layer of lethality there, but they're not going to be doing pincer movements or flanks all the time. They will try to get around different obstacles, and they do a pretty good job there. And also, you'll see some of them leaping over different things depending on the height of it and the character. When it comes to it, most of what you're going to be fighting are robots, creatures, and humans, each with slightly distinct abilities of their own. Now, outside combat systems have been expanded, but they're not really bloated. You can still mod weapons, break down gear, and upgrade companions' loadouts. Companions now have a unique skill that evolves over time. Though gone are the exaggerated special attacks from the first game, or they didn't show up in mine. When I shot somebody and it was the last hit, it would show some slow-mo, but it never really showed that amazing cowboy-style revolver montage from the first game. Everything is a bit more...
That's a little weird, because that was a key point of the first game. So I wonder if he didn't get it, or maybe they'll put it in later. That seems a little weird to put the slow motion, but not actually do the cool like finishing move type stuff.
Now, a bit more grounded, and that does keep you in the combat without changing the tempo. It works, but it does lose a bit of the cartoon energy. Perhaps maybe Obsidian thought restraint equals maturity, but honestly, a little dumb bravado never hurt anybody. I sort of would have liked that to have stayed in.
Agreed.
The biggest gameplay shift, though, is tone, and that really does speak to the bravado. Outer Worlds 2 just isn't as funny, and it still has jokes, and you can't swing...
Well, you can't offend anybody nowadays, so...
a plasma rifle in here without hitting a punchline about capitalism, but the humor's darker, drier, more melancholy tone didn't always hit right with me. Where the first game laughed with you about the absurdity of living under corporate rule, this one laughs at you for still thinking that you can fix it, which is fine. It's cynical, sure, and it fits, but what it led to me was feeling that a lot of characters in the system, regardless of the groups they were going with or their thought process or their origination, was a bit drier, a bit more one note, because there just wasn't that overall sarcasm about it. It was just like, we hate this and this, and this other group that we work for also sucks. What doesn't suck are the graphics.
It does look like that, Ray. Yeah, the colors are too much like High on Life. I agree.
So in appearance, I can say the game actually really surprised me. It keeps that retro futuristic art direction. The 50s Sears catalog meets NASA chic aesthetic, but polishes the hell out of it. Everything shines a little brighter, decays a little bit more beautifully. I love the overall look of the alien worlds. The Protectorate's clean military zones have this sort of symmetry to them that speaks to something.
It does remind me a lot about Avowed. I know it's sci-fi compared to fantasy, but it does remind me, the worlds, the way they look, the layout, it just reminds me of Avowed. Which I get, it's the same company making it, it's like an assembly line,
Bit across the way from absolutely creepy. Auntie's Choice outposts glow like candy-colored nightmares. They're all neon smiles and emotional damage in sign form. And the Order's sanctuaries are a bit like minimalistic cathedrals. Lighting, though, is the real star here. Ray tracing actually makes interiors feel a bit more alive.
It's funny. Now, I wonder if the people that wrote this are the same people that wrote Avowed. And writing goes a long way. And if the writing is not as good as he's saying, it doesn't feel like the same tone. Obviously, I wonder if it's the same type of people that wrote Avowed.
Live reflections.
There were so many boring parts in Avowed. Every time you talk to the goddamn god, oh my God, it was just thinking about it, I'm rolling my eyes.
Come off of all the right things, and for once, the shadows stretch and warp under rift-scarred skies and do so pretty naturally. Special effects, alien worlds, reflection, most of it looks good. You're still going to find the occasional really low-level texture here or there, or area that just seems like it was sort of put in place to stop you from going somewhere else and sort of forcing you to go down a particular path. Also, a game like this, regardless of whether it's made many years ago or made today, they still don't always do clip.
They probably did some sort of study. House asks, "What's with all the colors in the games now?" They probably did some sort of study that 35% of the people that play video games now really like these types of colors. We did the palettes, and this is what it is. Like, that's basically what it is. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, hey, it's just Ted did a study over here.
Cliffs and cliff faces, right? And there's a very gamified feel that you'll notice a lot of times. And because this game actually has you doing some platforming, not a ton, and it's actually quite easy, you just sort of know when you're up close and you see that edge of a cliff or hill. They all have a almost one-note cartoony look to it. What's also excellent here is overall, while it is a bit of a
a study of 50 people, Roic.
Heavier game, right. The performance was pretty solid. Let's just say there's one noticeable bit, though. While the game can look fantastic, I love the alien worlds, and not only are they improved, but now most of the characters don't look like friggin' punching bags with eyebrows anymore, so you don't want to kick them nearly as much as...
What? Is that what they looked like in the first one? I don't remember.
You did in the prior game, but I can't say this. I don't know what's going on. Some of these characters look like somebody pulled strands out of a wicker basket and hot glued it onto their skulls. That's the same way it feels when you're making the character and you're trying to figure out exactly what friggin' character from Silence of the Lambs decided to skin a bunch of people and put it on the top of people's heads. The hair systems just don't look that great in the game, and they go from being very coarse to looking like a bunch of pubic hair that's been snipped.
Again, I understand what he's saying about the customization stuff, but do you see your character in the cutscenes? And in the cutscenes, are you wearing a helmet? Like, how bad or good is this system based on if you're not seeing your character? Has no bearing on that. Has zero bearing if I'm not seeing my character and I put a helmet on. Unless I walk around because I don't want to have a helmet on, but it's still on, but I shut it off cosmetically, so it looks like I'm wearing the helmet, but I'm not wearing the helmet. But in cutscenes, is it that like pulls you out of the moment? Probably not.
Off and just glued onto somebody's face for a beard. We've seen that in a lot of games, but we see the same issue here, so I got to bring it up. With all the settings on max and ray tracing on, I was not, or at least having trouble in many places hitting 60 FPS with 4K without any kind of upscaling. You've got all the different versions of upscaling as well as frame gen in the game. And while you're seeing this footage of me, you'll be watching me play, and anytime in the lower right-hand corner you see any of that sort of interpolation, that's when it's on. You'll see a little bit of the edges of the frame and that mixture and mash. A lot of people aren't going to like that. I wanted to test.
Well, the third game Well, their second game is Grounded. Grounded doesn't look anything like this.
It throughout many hours of the game and then
Or
go
Grounded
back
2,
and
sorry.
also test it with it off, because a lot of times when you go
This is Outer Worlds 2, Argus.
into these kind of titles, it's a little difficult to figure out exactly if there's particular areas that are really bad or not. I would say generally it's just a bit of a heavier game than I expected, and I would have liked to have seen that short up. On the other hand, the moment you turn DLSS on or anything like that, you should be doing pretty good for FPS. There's a lot of settings here also that just you really don't have to do, like ray tracing itself. Turning it off is not going to kill you, and honestly, you're just going to be missing a couple rays of sunshine here, and I noticed some shadows definitely deepened and looked a bit better with it on. Nevertheless, turning it off isn't going to make the game look ugly.
I always love, obviously, because people that play on PC, and I get it, I just think it's funny that developers take time to put all the ray tracing and all this other shit in there. And as soon as they get the game on their computer, they're like, shut that off and turn that off, put this down, put this down. Because they want frames. They want frames. They're like, no. They want beauty. Put the beauty in there. They're like, no, we don't want beauty. We want to run it smooth.
I like the color, I like the scheme, the overall atmosphere, and I've always liked the way Outer Worlds looks. That's one part that I can say absolutely nails it. Another place that nailed it overall would be sound work. Sound design's quietly leveled up a bit. Walk into a skip drive facility and you're surrounded by air.
Yeah, the game looks too clean. Like if I told you right now, this is an Overwatch map, right?
Cycling,
it seems like an Overwatch, right? It seems like an Overwatch map that I'm running through.
It's all sinister. There's a lot of different sounds to it. Smaller guns can be heard far off. I like the different effects that you see, especially in some of the cutscenes and the story elements. I don't want to spoil any of those, but there were some really good moments where there was some processing applied to them. Also, I got to point out some of the guns just sound like a bunch of kids going into a mic when it comes
That's terrible if that's what it sounds like.
to how they fire even without silencers. That was a bit bothersome, even though you technically are using a super small caliber round with those guns. Come on, let's be honest. It still would have been more noticeable. Now, when it comes to the music, this sequel, I like a lot of the music when it comes to the fake ditties that you hear for the different.
This is why I like ACG, though. I like ACG when he does his reviews, and I say this every time we watch one of his reviews, is that he just breaks each department down, and you, the consumer, get to choose. Oh, I like music. Oh, I like the sound, or I don't like the sound, right? And if there's more pros and cons, and you're like, I'm going to get the game, right? I'm going to get the game. Or I don't know if I want to get this game because of these things.
Stores and different factions. Those were hilarious. There's one here that is absolutely amazing. One or two, they're absolutely amazing. Just in the first area, I adored them, and being able to switch between two sort of dueling radio tracks between the two dueling areas in that first planet. That was awesome to be able to hear how they treated different things. Loved that. But the overall music, the music you hear when you're just exploring, it's okay. The tonal balance is pretty classic, but it didn't necessarily wow me. And let's be honest, anybody playing this who's played Fallout is going to immediately hear some of these songs, some of the tunes, some of the sounds, and go, whoa, that's close. And it definitely is. There are certainly parts of this where you're like, wow, they sort of skirted the edge. And I think that's because unlike that feeling that you get from the 1950s style of Fallout with its tongue-in-cheek humor, as well as that feeling, I guess I would say, of hope and optimism.
Character models look okay. Like when you're looking at the NPCs and stuff.
The original Outer Worlds was more about this
They look better than Starfield's.
cynicism and commercialization of it. And here, it's a little bit less about cynicism and more just downright truthfulness. And some of that funniness or some of that humor ebbs away and pulls that a bit down when it comes to the spirit of everything. One place it really feels like they nailed it was the voices. Almost every single character, almost every single NPC or party member you have either has a solid
Her hair looks good.
voice, one that doesn't.
There's my point right there, right? He said something earlier about the hair looks terrible on your character, right? That looks good on her, right? The character over here, his hair looks fine on him. It's almost like the hair that you put on your character doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter because you don't see your character.
Of everything. One place it really feels like they nailed it was the voices. Almost every single character, almost every single NPC or party member you have either has a solid voice, one that doesn't push you away and have you go, my God, what theater troupe did they get these guys from? And exactly what language were they originally trained in? Instead, here, pretty solid. And some of the NPCs you meet, done as well. I do wish that writing, again, had just a tiny bit more of that humor to sort of make this game feel a bit different, where maybe it settles back into being a little bit closer to other titles. But still, voices that delivered those were great. And again, the singing chops on some of these characters is just awesome, especially when you're running around listening to some of the commercials. So does all this come together to make a fun game? So the first Outer Worlds, I think that was 2019, felt a bit like a love letter to Fallout fans who wanted something a little more futuristic that wasn't stuck in that dogmatic older time frame, regardless of...
Ooh, that was a big... Watch what happens here.
A little more futuristic that wasn't stuck in that dogmatic older time frame.
Oof, what a big kick in that was.
Regardless of the fact that everybody was dropping nuclear bombs. And I get it. It was small, it was witty, it was deeply handcrafted, a AA miracle that proved charm could actually beat scale, especially for those who love the game. Outer Worlds 2 keeps a lot of the same DNA, but mutates it just a bit. It's
supposed to come on to Game Pass, I believe, Stealth.
Bigger, it's meaner, it's a bit more confident, and I like those parts. But it also trades some of that old spark for its gravitas. The tongue-in-cheek humor that gave the first game its bounce has been sanded down into something a little more sardonic, a little more fatalistic. And instead of laughing at the corporations, you're sort of watching them win, and even if they lose, they're winning, which is a different feel than...
I wonder what's going to happen with the NPCs, if it's the same type of NPCs they have in Avowed. Avowed was very dead. Like, you could see in one of the towns, they had a lot of guys. Everybody else was like, whatever. I wonder what's going to happen in this game.
The first game. Even though it was so askew in that original title, there was something about it that was still that moment of...
Do you have the high end? Do you have day and date stealth? Do you have the ultimate? Or do you have the mid-tier one for Game Pass?
Wondrousness, that moment of, my God, I'm in space. And sometimes that's not replicated here. Where the first game made you laugh at how doomed everything was, Outer Worlds 2 wants you to feel the weight of the doom. Even in the commercials, you realize a lot of that is done this way. Its satire is sharper and slower. The writing digs a bit deeper. Every faction, every choice, every dialogue feels a little bit like it's daring to justify yourself against the other characters in the game world. And so sometimes that means that...
Yeah, I think the character models look good in the game.
The narrative goes back and forth and it feels like, aha, I won this conversation. And then other times...
I mean, you can look right here. Obviously, I don't know the tone that's being set in the actual game, but the town looks completely bare, right? There's not many people going around.
Sometimes you're like, aha, they gave up during this conversation, which is a distinctly different feel. Gameplay-wise, it's easily more refined and certainly more refined than almost anything they've done. Movement's a bit slicker.
I'll turn my Xbox on
a little
to
bit
see
more
real fast.
competent, and builds actually, I feel, matter more in this than I've seen in a long time. I wasn't able to find a respec button, and I hear that it's gone, so you can't respec, which admittedly, I know it's going to bother some people. I sort of dug it. I like that permanence anyway. It gives the whole thing a bit more weight, and it actually meant the choices I made had a bit more consequence. But I get that you may not like it. That being said, the biggest change to Outer Worlds isn't the tone or change the weapons or the items or the skills. It's also the size of the worlds. And let me talk about this just for a moment. And I think this is one place where there's a bit of a slip up. Sure, it's a bigger series of locations.
It looks like it's a glitch.
Of them that you go to, or wider spaces at least. But do you know what's less fun than running around a lot of empty space? Me either. Get back to me, because I couldn't find anything worse in this game. Where the first game may have felt cramped, it wasn't endlessly running, and especially the first planet of this title, it did not excite me nearly as much as the first in the original game. There's something about it that feels a bit too stretched for its own good. And because the game isn't throwing a ton of enemies at you, and when they are, especially in those locations, a lot of it's just animals, you're running around to yourself thinking, my God, man, at some point you'd figure like the entire animal kingdom would rise up to defeat me. But interestingly enough, they stated this is where they were going. And I think that regardless if I loved this or not, I sort of got to hand it to them. They nailed pretty much every single element that they said that they were going for. But that doesn't mean it's going to be for everybody. And that's where I get to my rating.
Well, that's it right there, right? Make a game, sell a game. They decided they wanted to make a game a certain way, and it either hits with you or it doesn't hit with you. That's any game, right? So they decided to go, and they came true to what they wanted to do.
You guys know I rate games on a buy, wait for a sale, deep sale, or never touch it again rating system. Hey, this is on Game Pass. You can get it. You can play it for super cheap. Go do it. I suggest you do if you have any interest in this. I would say, though, if I was going out to purchase this one, especially the more dire kind of overall game world, even with more choices and more narrative, and guys, you get a ton more. There is some great moments where some of the skills I had and combining it with some of the items was great, but I just did not like the first area at all. It really drug for me, and that ended up impacting the rest. And I can say for me,
bad start.
This probably just because it feels less Outer Worlds than I expected and a little bit more generic. If you were going out there to buy it without Game Pass, I'd probably say you might want to wait a little while, see what other people are saying about this. Maybe other people liked it more than me. But for me personally, it needed to do the one thing it sort of didn't, which is grab me. And thus the giant problem with stories and atmosphere in games just isn't going to hit everybody. So anyway, that's it for me. Leave a comment, leave a thumbs up.
So he said, if you have Game Pass, play it. If you don't have Game Pass, you would wait, right? Wait. And that's what I said before the thing even started. I said, you're either going to play it on Game Pass or you're going to buy it for $70. If not, you're going to wait. And I would wait. A lot of people would just wait. Because if you don't want to pay the 70, you don't want to pay 60, you don't want to pay 50, then just wait. You just wait. Stealth, it looks like it's glitched. It looks like it's glitched because I'll show you on my screen. How do I... Where the hell is it? Display capture. So right here, it says recently added on Game Pass. This is the Game Pass tab. You click here, right? And it says buy on Microsoft Store for $24.99. But here it says Game Pass, right? Game Pass XS. And when you click on it, it brings it here and it says, oh, well, there you go. That wasn't there 5 seconds ago. So it says install to play this, because it said before where it says install, it actually said you have to have Ultimate. And I started laughing because if you go to the thing, look, it says I have Ultimate. So it was a glitch. It looked like it was a glitch. Yeah, but that's the best part, right? If you're a person that's not looking for the latest, greatest game, then you have to play it now, right? There's so many games that are out right now. Right now, just looking at what I have. Let me bring back up the screen. Okay. Right now, right? Okay, Outer Worlds 2 is out, okay, or it's coming out. It's like, well, Helldivers just had an update to fix the game or patch it or whatnot, so you can go back to that. Division just had an update, so you can go back and play Division. Fallout 76 just had an update. You can go back and play Fallout 76. Sworn's a new game on Game Pass. Marvel Rivals just added a brand new mode on the thing. Ball Pit just came out, and you can go play that, right? Evil West is out here. This is a 2-player co-op game. Ninja Gaiden 4 just came out. Keeper just came out. Bounty Star just came out. Power Wash 2 similar just came out, okay? Then there's the games that you could go back to that just did updates. Do you know what I mean? There's the DLC. There's a DLC for Indiana Jones. The Path of Exile 2 got updated. There's new content for Elder Scrolls. You can go play New World. They just had a new update, right? Hogwarts Legacy came out onto the platform. Grounded 2's out there. Tell me why I need to play a brand or buy a brand new game. Someone give me a reason why I need to go buy a brand new game. The only reason you need to go buy a brand new game is because you want it. You want it. Right? And if you don't want it because all the other games are boring to you, like Arc Raiders comes out in a week, right? A lot of you will drop whatever you were going to play to go play Arc Raiders. Everything else goes on the back burner. Right? Battlefield 6's free mode or Season 1 drops next week as well. Right? There is so many games. So many games. Not every game is for everybody. So to be like, this game says doesn't matter if it's garbage or not. You don't have to play it right now. There's so many games you can play. I guarantee you right now, there is 10 games in your library, disc or discless, okay, that had an update in the last 6 months that you can go back and play. No Man's Sky just had an update yesterday. Right? There's so many games to play. I don't understand when I was like, I'm not going to. Don't buy it. Don't buy full price games. Don't buy full price games. Right? This game is definitely not worth $70. Avowed wasn't worth $70. Avowed was a good game. Right? Avowed was a good game. Wasn't a terrible game, but it wasn't $70. I would pick that up for $40. Craig Rhodes comes in and says, Helldivers is back. Patch notes. That is all. Yeah. I watched the video. I'm not going to go over on this stream, but they had a lot of updates. A lot of updates for Helldivers. Hopefully it doesn't crash still, right? Hopefully it doesn't crash still. Hopefully PCs don't get blown up by it. All right, we got about 10 minutes left. Let's look at some Twitter accounts here. Ashraf says, I have 499 games on Epic Games that I got for free. At least 100 plus of them I would try and never touch yet. That's right. There's so many people that have backlogs. And that's not a bad thing, by the way. Having a backlog is not a bad thing. Having a backlog means that you spent money on things and you didn't have the time to play it, and you can go back at any time to play it. Right? That's what Game Pass is for a lot of people. Instead of having storage where you own all those games, they're just like, I'll play it. And if it disappears, they're like, I'll play it later. Right? I have so many games that I want to get to that I just haven't or don't care for. Ray says, I'm playing Ninja Gaiden 4. I'm impressed. The game is just 35 gigabytes. Didn't Steam just have a sale? Yeah, Steam just had a sale, didn't they? They had the... no, it was Next Fest. Next Fest. It wasn't a sale. Are they back on sale? Oh, by the way, ACG's link in the description down below. If you guys like the video, go over to his channel, give it a like, give it a subscribe. All right, I'm trying to find any update. 1 o'clock today. We're gonna be live, but I'm not gonna cover it live. We'll talk about tonight on GXG podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. 8 p.m. tonight, right here on this channel. There's an event going on for Bethesda today. So at 1 o'clock. So it'll be live at 1 o'clock. I'll be live playing Marvel Rivals at 1 o'clock over on 30 and Still Gaming, but I will not be covering. Maybe I'll have it on the TV. Maybe I'll watch it or whatnot. But I won't be covering it live like this on this show. We'll talk about tonight on GXG. Clip says, I love the combat in Ninja Gaiden 4, but the middle of the game, so it's damn boring. So you're not a big story person. Let me see what else is going on here. Marvel Rivals needs to fix room 8/9 every time it gets to the zombie, it gets stuck upstairs, and sometimes they'll never come out. Oh, there you go. The broke, buggy games. Publishers aren't playing around with the user-made maps and modes. So they're banning people for making certain content. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want in Portal. We talked about this yesterday. But you just can't do these things. You can make any map that you want. The tools are at your disposal, but you just can't. You can't make other people's games inside their game. Let's see. But this is on the ropes. They need to switch it up and release a winner. I mean, I don't know. I come from a different standpoint. I don't think Starfield was a failure. It's a single player game. It's not a live service game. So I think they sold enough to be profitable. They just didn't sell a shit ton to be mega profitable. Right? I think they made plenty of money from Starfield. I just don't think they didn't make a shit ton of money from Starfield. If they needed to sell 7 million copies and they sold 8 or 10, whatever it is, right? There is no story. It's just you doing combat for like 6 chapters. Oh, for God's sakes. Really? Let's go on, Para. It was in the news more than Ghosts of Yogurt. Yeah, again, I don't think in any way, shape, or form that Starfield was a failure. It was a failure in the public's eyes, but for the company, they made their money back on what they charged for it. Elden Ring and Nintendo Switch 2 delayed to 2026. What do you guys think about the next consoles, right? There's a word out there that says the next consoles are going to be premium consoles. Premium consoles, meaning they're going to be like $800 to $1,000 for a console. So let me ask you a question here. If you guys had to pay $1,000 for a console, what would you rather have? A PC or a console? I know my answer. Be a PC. If I'm going to save up $1,000 or $1,200 for a console, then I'll save up $1,400 to $1,500 to $1,800 for a PC. Ghost of Yotei was well made, and Starfield had a bunch of issues. Sure, but Ghost of Yotei sold less than 5 million copies. Less than 4 million copies, I think, right? And Starfield sold around 6 million copies, 7 million copies, right? Now, I don't know the budget for either of these things, but both probably made a profit for the respectable companies. Oh, remember how many articles came out? How many articles came out for Starfield? Holy shit. It was like an onslaught. IGN by themselves had, I think, 36 articles in a month. In the same period of time, I believe Starfield sold... I'm going off memory. I'm looking it up right now, but I could have sworn that Starfield had 4 million copies sold in the first week, if I'm not mistaken. That they knew of. And then obviously there was Game Pass that we don't know how many people played. It says here, official sale figures for Starfield not available because of launch of Xbox Game Pass, making it difficult to separate the actual sales from the player numbers on the subscription service. However, the estimated suggestion was sold around 3 million copies on Steam, and early access sales generated about $100 million on Steam. Right, so it's 3 million on Steam alone, and then the people that paid $30, so they had it on Game Pass, but they paid $30 to get the expansion and get early access to it on Xbox, and that was about another 2 million people. So meaning that they made, if it was 2 million people on console that paid $30, 2 people, so that means it was about 1 million people that paid full price for the game. So you could say about 4 million copies sold. And that was 4 million in the first week. Now, I did say here, it says, while the sales numbers are hard to confirm, Bethesda has stated it was commercial success and peaked over 10 million players, was reported in the first month. So 10 million in the first month, but 4 million sales in the first week. Now, Ghost of Yotei. Let's see. First, I don't even think they They tell you first week sales. While Sony has not released official numbers, analysts estimate that Ghost of Yotei sold over 1.6 million copies to consume its first week. So there you go. So there's the difference. Okay. So 1.6 million copies in the first week. Starfield sold 4 million copies in the first week. And Yotei has sold 2 million units total. That's fuzzy math. What's fuzzy math? 30 plus 30 equals 60. 2 million people paid $30. Cut that in half. It's a million people that paid $60. It's not fuzzy math. It's what math is. So you would look at it and say they sold 1 million units on console, roughly. So it'd be about 3.7 to 4 million units total for Starfield in the first week. Would you not? How would you count it? How would you not? Would you not count the 30 plus 30? If they got the expansion and get 4 days early access to access a game that's free on Game Pass, but they paid $30 for it, where would you put that money? I heard Nintendo spent like $13 million on Pokemon game and it sold 700 million copies. Yeah, look how crappy it looks. That's why Nintendo does what it wants. 700 million units is probably what they sell it on mobile. Heard that Nintendo spent 13 million on Pokemon game and it sold 700 million copies. Is that total, like, for not one game but the entire franchise? Hold on, this is like a bad game of telephone here. Let's look this up. Nintendo Nintendo has sold over 480 million copies of Pokemon games worldwide, and nearly 100 million copies sold on Nintendo Switch alone. I don't know where you're getting your number from. It's only about 300 million off. About 300 million off. Yeah, I don't know if you added. Yeah, it says here. Yeah, this. Oh, wait, that's on the wrong screen. There, all right. Again, just a search. I don't know what's. We can go here. Okay, best-selling Nintendo Switch video game. Okay, if we go back here, it says Nintendo has sold 480 million copies of Pokemon games worldwide, like all games, with nearly 100 million copies sold on Nintendo Switch alone as of 2024. This makes the Switch the best-selling platform for Pokemon franchise. Worldwide, 400 million. So I have no idea where you got that number from, or who told you that number. Some streamer. Did he bring up numbers? Did he do any kind of search? I don't know. Again, I don't know if those are real or not, but 700 million, that sounds like a lot considering let's see, the best-selling video game of all time, which is Minecraft, at 350 million sales, and then Grand Theft Auto is at 215. Just one game. That's crazy. Yeah. Right? Minecraft 350. Can I just tell you, remember, Minecraft is owned by Microsoft, by the way. Okay? It's owned by Microsoft. They're making bank off of Minecraft. I mean, it might be. Right now it says 350, but I don't know how often these are up to date. Let's see. Minecraft sales right now. Minecraft Total sales? Yeah, they're at 350. As of April of 2025, Minecraft has sold over 350 million copies worldwide. But they're not the most profitable. The most profitable is Grand Theft Auto. Right? Because you can get Minecraft for like $15, $20, whatever it is. Meanwhile, Grand Theft Auto 5 is still like $40, $50, $60 in some places. Minecraft, did you forget that they own Candy Crush? Yeah, but there's not copies sold for Candy Crush. Like, Candy Crush is just a free-to-play game, and they make microtransactions. I'm not talking about microtransactions. I'm talking about a physical game that sold 350 million copies. Do you understand what 350 million copies of one game is? Pokemon has sold 480 million total of all their games. How many Pokemon games are there? Minecraft has sold one Minecraft game. 350 million units. They already have it. They already have Minecraft with subscription. They have the realms. They make a crap ton of money off Minecraft realms. So Microsoft, they had to pitch Minecraft 2 a while back with circuits and more blocks, basically, that would have been legendary. So what, they would have been more voxel, more like smaller blocks within the blocks? What time is it? 12 o'clock? All right. We're going to wind down here. We'll be back in about 45 minutes or so. Microsoft did a great investment by buying Mojang Studios. Yeah, no one ever brings that up. No one ever brings that up. They look at the bad purchases they've done, but they haven't done the good purchase that they've done. Mojang was a big pickup. Altern says we need a Minecraft extraction shooter. Do you not listen to my songs? Do you understand that extractions and battle royale? Well, not extraction, but battle royales all came because of Hunger Games and Minecraft, right? Minecraft was the first battle royale-esque type of stuff because of Hunger Games. They made a mod inside of Minecraft, and then from that they spread out and made all these other games. That's because of Minecraft, because of a movie. Yeah, that's this song that I did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Stay tuned. Everybody stand up, yeah, like I stayed up. We been away, yeah. It started in the movies, Katniss with a bow. The Hunger Games planted seeds we didn't even know. Kids on Minecraft servers built a game to survive. Chest spawns in the center, only one walks out alive. Blocks turn to bullets, squares in the skies. A new way to play, a new way to rise. From mods to modes, the idea caught fire. One winner stand and that's all we require. Battle Royale, the good, the bad, the craze. You rewrote the rules, you changed the arcade. From hunger in the mines to parachutes that fall. Now every game dreams they could have it all. Royale, the good, the bad.
Yeah, that's a history lesson right there for you inside my song. That one's not on the store yet. That's a history lesson. Got a little bit of tweaking to do, a little bit still. So, right, because of a book. You're right. Because of a book, which then became a movie, which then became. All right. All right. We'll be back in about 35, 40 minutes to play some Marvel Rivals PvE with Mr. Luke over on our other channel, 30 and Still Gaming. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, for Generation X Gaming, a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. I'll lead you guys out with another song I did for Call of Duty. You guys can listen to that on the way out. I'll see you guys either this afternoon on 30 and Still Gaming, or I'll see you guys tonight over on Generation X Gaming. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
I remember the nights, the red dot sights, heartbeat racing in the flashing lights. Back in the days it was fight or die. Now it's all skins just to look fly. No more teamwork, just solo cues. Every match feels deja vu. We had grit, we had soul. Now it's battle passes with no control. We used to drop in with purpose. Now it's all surface, no heart in the fight, just noise in the furnace. They chase trends, forgot the roots, lost the boots. Now it's flashy suits. Call of Duty. What happened to you? You were the fire, now you just fumes. From modern warfare to a neon dream. You lost your edge, forgot the team. We used to fight for something real. Now it's all about that highlight reel. Oh, Call of Duty, you lost your call. Search and destroy. Every round we'd hold our breath, boy. Now it's all flashing moves and noise. Microtransactions kill the joy. No more brothers on the same side, just randoms and rage on the live mic. Skill-based match kills the vibe. I miss the days we just drop and ride. Go soap and price had soul. Stories that cut right through the code. Now it's just operators sold. Another skin, another mold. You start Treyarch's Infinity Sledgehammer 2. Who's gonna bring back the truth in you? Call of Duty. What happened to you? You were the fire, now you just fumes. From modern warfare to a neon dream. You lost your edge, forgot the team. We used to fight for something real. Now it's all about that highlight reel. Oh, Call of Duty, you lost your call. Oh, Call of Duty. Oh, Call of Duty. I'll still drop in, I'll still reload, but it ain't the same road we know. The legends fade, the heart's gone smoke. Call of Duty, you lost it all.